Well, the Sussex's soap opera rolled into town this week, 8 years after Harry and Meghan last came down under in a trip they called the catalyst for leaving the royal family.
Oh wow, the fall-off is real. Prince Harry didn't see this one coming, but Australia was not playing nice at all. Reports say Meghan Markle faced a seriously icy reaction during their latest visit, and it was hard to miss. What was meant to be a happy return to one of their strongest fan bases quickly flipped into a harsh wake-up call, and the vibe felt totally different this time. Instead of cheers and big smiles, things seemed awkward, and Harry is said to be heading home feeling the pressure. Some sources claim it hit even harder because most of that cold energy appeared aimed at his wife. Now flip back to 2018, because the picture back then looked nothing like this.
It was a hug from Harry that brought a woman to tears. India Brown had been waiting patiently since 4 a.m.
Just to see them will be amazing, but if I'm lucky enough to hug Prince Harry, it would just be phenomenal.
They had just come off that fairy tale royal wedding, and everything felt like a dream. When Harry and Meghan first landed in Australia, it was pure superstar energy. Sydney went wild for them, no exaggeration. People camped out for hours just to catch a 2-second look at the glowing newlyweds. That moment was peak hype, their golden era, the kind of welcome most royals could only wish for. So what really changed between then and now? The difference is honestly shocking. That same tour had another huge moment too. Meghan and Harry revealed they were expecting, and people across Australia felt genuinely honoured to hear something so personal first. The excitement was next level, the energy felt alive, and the couple were treated like a mix of Hollywood stars and real royalty everywhere they showed up.
A pregnant Meghan and her husband Prince Harry kicked off their royal duties down under on Tuesday by cuddling a koala at an Australian zoo. The couple officially opened a new science institute in Sydney, mixing with locals during the first day of their packed trip. It's their first engagement since Kensington Palace announced they were expecting a baby in the spring.
Crowds kept showing love, cheering, and following their every move. It really looked like Australia had fully claimed them as their favourite royal duo at the time. The support felt solid, like nothing could shake it. But then everything started to shift after they stepped back from royal duties, and the mood slowly changed. The headlines didn't stop, from interviews to major media deals, Netflix projects, and all the public drama that kept popping up. Over time, all of that started to reshape how people saw them. They stayed away from Australia for years, focusing on their new life in California and building a different kind of spotlight around themselves. So when they finally came back this year, the atmosphere didn't feel the same at all.
Buckingham Palace has confirmed that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will not be returning as working members of the royal family. Prince Harry and Meghan stepped down from royal duties last year and moved to the United States. The couple, who are expecting their second child, have been stripped of their patronages and honorary titles, which will be returned to the Queen and distributed elsewhere in the royal family.
This time, they weren't showing up as working royals tied to the monarchy. Instead, they arrived more like high-profile celebrities attending paid events, without official royal roles or big monarchy-backed charity efforts behind them, and that difference really stood out. A lot of Australians started looking at this visit sideways, thinking Meghan and Harry were trying to cash in. Even before their plane touched down, the pushback had already started building up. People jumped onto change.org and launched a petition that blew up fast, pulling in over 40,000 signatures. The demand was simple and direct. No taxpayer money should go towards supporting what many saw as a private trip with business motives. The message came through loud and clear, and it wasn't subtle at all. Reports say Meghan's team didn't expect that kind of reaction, and it forced a quick response. Their spokesperson stepped in to make it clear the visit was fully private, with zero government involvement. But even with that statement, the doubts didn't go away, and people kept questioning the real reason behind the trip. When Meghan and Harry finally showed up, the contrast with 2018 hit hard. The huge crowds and loud cheers were missing this time. No packed streets, no massive turnout. Instead, appearances were met with smaller, more controlled groups, mostly made up of people already nearby. Meghan kept her public smile in place, but observers pointed out the shift in energy right away. It didn't feel the same. This wasn't the massive electric welcome they once had, and that difference stood out instantly. The whole atmosphere felt different this time, more quiet, more cautious, and way less excited than before. Even Australian media didn't hold back with their takes, and some of the commentary came in sharp. A few commentators went as far as calling it a cosplay royal tour, saying it looked like an official royal visit on the surface, but didn't have the real status or energy behind it. That phrase spread fast, and it pushed the idea that the couple might be trying to recreate those royal-style moments without actually being working royals anymore.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have criticised an online petition ahead of their trip to Australia next month. More than 35,000 people have signed the form saying security and logistics for the pair's tour should not be taxpayer funded.
Out on the streets, reactions seemed mixed at best. Instead of hype and excitement, there was confusion. Some locals were openly asking why Meghan Markle was even there, and the big public turnout that might have been expected just didn't show up. For many, that felt like a clear signal that the Sussex brand didn't hit the same way in Australia anymore. Things stood out even more during Meghan's headline event, the Best Life Retreat, which was a major reason for the trip.
In Kilda Road, we're just opposite the shrine, and this is the crowd that has gathered just in the past sort of half an hour or so. They arrived about 3:35. A lot of them were here.
The event was planned for around 300 people, but reports claimed it didn't sell out, and attendance came in lower than expected, raising even more eyebrows. The venue didn't look packed either, with empty seats easy to spot, and that instantly got people talking about the level of public interest. For an event that was supposed to draw a crowd, the turnout raised a lot of questions. Some Australians felt the whole thing leaned too much into Meghan herself instead of giving real value to the people attending.
Know why they're coming.
I think it's probably really nice for them to not have to do all the royal stuff, but yeah, I guess that also means that they're not as sort of relevant, I guess, here.
On top of that, there were rumours floating around that the visit might have also been about testing her personal brand in the Australian market. A few people even believed she was quietly checking out business opportunities, trying to see if the public would back her future products and projects. That idea only added more confusion, especially since the trip was first presented as a wellness-focused speaking engagement. But then, the schedule included visits to hospitals and shelters, and some observers felt those moments didn't fully connect with the main purpose of the trip. To them, it came off a bit staged. Instead of boosting her image, it made some people question whether those appearances were carefully planned for publicity, as skepticism kept growing. At that point, the whole visit started to feel less like a genuine return, and more like a promotional run that wasn't really landing.
Can I be honest and tell you I really don't think about them at all?
Are you aware that Harry and Meghan are in Australia?
I had no idea they were coming to Australia.
Yes, I did read about it.
I wasn't aware that they were coming out to Australia at all. I haven't seen anything on the news.
Honestly, no. I did not really know they came last time as well.
I don't know why they're coming.
The strong emotional connection from the past just didn't seem to be there anymore. Prince Harry faced his own issues too. At his mental health speaking event, where he was the keynote, reports claimed ticket sales were low, leading organisers to cut prices hard, dropping from around $1,300 to about $650, which definitely caught attention. That price drop did not go unnoticed, and it quickly became part of the bigger conversation around the trip. People started questioning the level of demand and whether the interest in seeing Prince Harry speak was as strong as it once seemed. For an event centred on mental health, the message still mattered, but the turnout told a different story to some observers.
Meghan Markle's $3,000 a head women's retreat in Sydney has failed to sell out.
Instead of sold-out energy, the situation gave off signs of struggle, and that shift didn't help their overall image during the visit. Online reactions only added more pressure. Social media lit up with mixed opinions, with some people defending the couple, while others openly criticised the entire tour. The tone felt divided, and that clear split made it obvious that public opinion was no longer fully on their side.
I think it's going to come down to the commercial aspect. You said about brand Sussex. There is talk that she's going to be bringing, as ever, her brand to Australia. I think that we will know, really, whether she's won over those Aussies that maybe didn't have a strong opinion either way before when that gets launched, because it will be in the form of cold, hard cash. But
What stood out the most was how different everything felt compared to the past. The excitement, the hype, the strong support, it just wasn't hitting the same anymore. Even casual observers could see the gap between what used to be and what was happening now. At this point, the trip started raising bigger questions about their global appeal. Was this just a rough visit or a sign of something deeper shifting in how people respond to them? The contrast kept getting harder to ignore. As the trip went on, the shift in perception became even harder to brush off. Every appearance, every headline, it all seemed to add to the same growing narrative that something just wasn't clicking like before. Media coverage kept circling back to the same question: what exactly was the purpose of this visit? Without a clear connection to official royal duties or a major unified cause, the whole thing started to feel scattered to some observers. That lack of focus made it easier for critics to step in and shape the story their own way. At the same time, supporters of Meghan and Harry pushed back, saying the couple were simply carving out a new path on their own terms. They argued that stepping away from royal life was always going to come with challenges, and this was just part of that transition playing out in public. Still, the contrast with their past tours refused to fade. Back then, the attention felt natural and massive. Now, it looked more controlled, more selective, and a lot less organic.
Rockstar royals who captivated the nation back in 2018. But as Prince Harry and Meghan prepare to return here to Australia, the reception is looking, well, a little bit more lukewarm.
The price of new tickets for Harry's big Melbourne appearance have been slashed by 50% only a week before they head down under.
By the end of the visit, one thing stood out clearly. The connection they once had with the Australian public didn't feel as strong or as effortless anymore. And that shift left people watching closely to see what happens next. By the time the visit started wrapping up, the overall impression felt locked in, and it wasn't the kind of buzz they once enjoyed. The headlines, the turnout, the reactions, it all painted a picture that was hard to spin any other way. Instead of a big comeback moment, the trip came across to many as a reality check. The energy just didn't match the hype they used to carry, and that gap kept showing up in every part of the visit. Observers pointed out that rebuilding that kind of public connection isn't something that happens overnight.
Is that Harry and Meghan are also experiencing a popularity drop.
Once the perception shifts, it takes consistent effort and clear direction to win people back, and right now, that path didn't seem fully defined. At the same time, the spotlight on Meghan and Harry hasn't disappeared at all. People are still watching closely, still talking, still reacting, which means the interest is there, just not in the same way as before. What happens next could shape how they're seen moving forward. Whether they adjust their approach, focus on different projects, or try to reconnect with audiences in a new way, the pressure is definitely on. One thing is clear, this Australia trip didn't go unnoticed, and the reactions from it may stick around longer than expected. Looking ahead, the big question now is where they go from here. After a trip like this, all eyes are on their next move and whether they can shift the narrative back in their favour. Some observers believe this could be a turning point, a moment where Meghan and Harry might need to rethink how they present their projects and connect with the public. Because right now, the reaction showed that attention alone isn't enough, it's the perception that really drives support. There's also growing curiosity about how their future events will perform. Will crowds show up stronger next time, or will this pattern continue? That uncertainty is starting to follow them, and it's something they can't easily ignore. At the same time, their global profile is still massive, and they still have a platform that many people pay attention to. That means they have the opportunity to adjust, to refine their message, and to approach things differently if they choose to. But one thing keeps coming up in conversations: authenticity. People want to feel a real connection, not just a polished appearance, and that expectation is louder than ever now. As the dust settles from this visit, the pressure is building for their next chapter, because whatever they do next could either rebuild that momentum or push the gap even wider. Even after ticket prices were cut, the event still reportedly struggled to fill up, and that didn't go unnoticed at all. The attempt to draw a bigger crowd just didn't hit the way it was expected to. For Harry, it seemed like an awkward spot to be in. Once seen as one of the most popular figures in the monarchy, he now looked caught between backing Meghan's independent path and facing the reality of lower public demand. The same prince who used to pull massive crowds was now dealing with quieter estate bells, smaller audiences, and signs that public interest might be cooling off. That shift felt hard to ignore, especially for long-time watchers. Some observers pointed out that Harry seems stuck between two worlds, not fully a working royal anymore, but also not completely embraced as a regular celebrity either, and that in-between space can be tough to navigate. This Australia trip put that transition right in the spotlight. What was meant to rebuild momentum ended up raising more questions, and the reaction made things look uncertain. The country that once celebrated their story now seemed unsure about where they stand today. So what do you think about Australia's reaction to Meghan and Harry? Who do you think is responsible for the shift in Harry's image? Drop your thoughts in the comments, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more, and I'll catch you in the next video.